Loading, loading. Okay, I think that we are live. Let me check and make sure. And then we can go in on it. Okay, yes, it looks like we are live.
Okay.
Awesome. All right, so hi guys. Welcome to our my first official kind of holistic series that I'm doing, the interviews. So like I said, this is not normally where I post things. I normally post things on The Natural Motive, but I really just felt inspired with everything that's going on in the world to just kind of open it up to everybody, because I think there's going to be lots of really helpful and useful information. So for those of you that are my friends and have my friends and don't really know my background, but I have my certification to be an essential oils coach. And so I have a business, which is The Natural Motive, and that's where I post most of my stuff. But I wanted to open this up to everybody and just give everybody a chance to learn some of this. So for this entire month, every Wednesday, I'm going to have someone new to kind of interview that's in the holistic health space. Because yes, I teach about essential oils, but my passion is really goes well beyond that. I had my own health issues for 10, 15 plus years, if not my entire life. And about 10 years ago, so I kind of changed my whole lifestyle and just kind of immersed myself in more natural remedies and learning about how the body works and just how amazing it is, and how it can heal itself, and just all the things that we can utilize that can help support our bodies naturally. And so that's really kind of my passion. And so, throughout the few years I've been doing this, I've, met different people in different spaces that have different backgrounds and educations. And so I thought it'd be kind of cool to take this time, since we're all quarantined and in our homes, that we could just learn something new and kind of open our eyes to maybe some new tools that you may not have been aware of in the past that we can start utilizing. So I'm really excited to bring Tonya on from Lilly Hollow Homestead. So hey, she's in her greenhouse right now. So we met back in January, the beginning of the year, and she had a beautiful display of all her beautiful products. And I have, obviously with essential oils, they come from plants, right? And so I have a huge interest in just learning more about herbs, and I use herbs myself on a daily basis in tinctures, and I'm just super fascinated with it because there's so many amazing benefits. And so I kind of picked her brain, and she was very kind in entertaining all of my questions that I had for her, because I just really want to learn more about this world of herbalism and just how plants can really support our bodies, because they're just so beautiful, and it's something that I've taken for granted in the past, and I just want to learn more. So I thought it would be great to have her on to open up kind of our eyes and just talk a little bit about her business and her company, her passion, and just open up some resources to you guys, to people here in Columbus, right? So there might be someone, that you may not have even known about, and can get your hands on some of these amazing products too. So I am going to kind of open it up, and I'm just going to ask Tonya a couple questions, and then we'll try and open up at the end for any questions that you guys may have. So yeah, so thanks, Tonya, for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So could you just, at basic level, just kind of talk a little bit about your background and really how and kind of why you created Lilly Hollow?
Yeah, sure. Let's see. Well, I guess I've always sort of been a gardener, I guess you could say, ever since I was a little kid. Mom always had a huge garden and canned and did all that kind of stuff, and had huge flower gardens and that kind of stuff. So I was immersed in that from us just being a child. And when I grew up, I liked to do those things too. When my two oldest girls were old enough to go to school, I went back to school and I got an associate's degree in horticulture. I started doing landscape design after that for my brother's landscaping company. But I enjoyed that job. I enjoyed working with plants, but I really felt like there was something missing there. I really wanted to get more into plants with a purpose, and because it was mostly like installing deer resistant, low maintenance the typical landscaping plants that
Right.
everybody wants, and they don't want to have to take care of, and they just want the easiest possible. So I just kind of got bored of that. And in the meantime, at home, I was kind of building my gardens and kind of switching over more to herbs and edibles and medicinals mainly, and playing with those. And I kind of got into essential oils too, and making my own lip balms and lotions and just things like that, homemade alternatives to store-bought stuff.
Yeah.
It was after the third child was born that I really wanted to make this like a future for me. This was my passion, and I wanted to put things out there for other people. So my midwife, when I was pregnant for my fourth child, just kept asking me, she kept saying, what do you want to do? What is it that you want to do? Focus on that, and how can you make that happen? So I just decided to make this. And my husband kept telling me, you should make these products for other people. People would love your stuff. That's really good stuff. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where it was born.
That's
And
really
that was 2 years ago. I started making things to sell, and then we officially became a business last March. So 1 year now.
Wow, that's amazing. So only a year. That's kind of, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So tell people some of the things that you make. Like, what are some of your, favorite products that you're making?
I make everything from tinctures, which are alcohol extractions. I do glycerin extractions of herbs, lip balms, salves, teas. I have a pregnancy and postpartum line where I do nipple butter and a pregnancy tea and a postpartum sitz bath. I do some men's products, some facial products, a little bit of everything, honestly.
Yeah.
And I don't really have a favorite because I just really enjoy making all of it. I love the process from start to finish. I just love growing them, sitting with them, picking them, making things out of them. I don't really have a favorite, so I can't give you that.
Right. No, I totally get that. I mean, your heart and soul is in all of these things.
Totally. Yeah.
It's hard to pick, definitely a favorite. So when it comes to, people that are maybe new to herbs and utilizing them in different ways, like, I think at a basic level, what kind of interests me too is, like, even with essential oils, like, how do plants naturally support our body, and, like, what are the benefits of incorporating them more? I think even as, even like cooking and things like that, I think as America in general, like, we just lack utilizing these beautiful herbs, and just even in our cooking and things like that. And there's so many nutrients in them and so many amazing things that even just at a basic level of cooking, like, we kind of lack some of that. So maybe explain to us, like, just a little bit of how they support our bodies, and, what are some of the benefits that we can use and while using herbs.
Yeah. Well, some people forget that plants are intelligent just as we are, and they communicate just in a different way that we do. In some ways, they're more evolved than us in the ways of healing. That's basically their only job. They don't have to go to work. They don't have bills to pay. They don't have kids to raise. I mean, their sole purpose is to survive in their environment and to adjust to unbalances and shifts in their environment. So in that way, they are more intelligent in the ways of healing. When it comes to their relationship with people, they express themselves in different ways in different people. When you ingest a plant or you use a plant, it basically guides us or teaches our body how to adjust to changes or to dis-ease or disease, and come back into balance or homeostasis. So You can definitely use herbs in a sort of allopathic way, which is where you use this plant for this symptom.
Right.
But really, the best way, the most beneficial way of using plants is called the vitalist approach. It's where they show your body how to follow the vital force. So they guide it kind of along the way on the path that it's already going. So let's see, this is an example used quite often with fevers. So you have a pathogen or a virus come into your body and you have a fever. Your body's vital force creates that fever to rid your body of that. So an allopathic way of treating that would be to take like a Tylenol or something like that to lower your fever, which in fact is going to drive that deeper into your body and create more of a problem. Where if you're following the vitalist approach, you would use an herb to actually make that fever heat up faster, and then you would use something that would open your pores and let you sweat it out. So that's more of a vitalist approach to a fever, is letting your body do what it naturally wants to do rather than suppress the symptoms.
Yeah. Yeah, that's perfect. I love that. And as far as like, if you're starting kind of at square one and you've never really used herbs before, could you explain the difference between, like utilizing herbs in like a tea or utilizing herbs in say like a tincture form? Because that was something that, when I first started trying to learn a little bit more, I was like, I don't really know the difference, or like, is there, benefits for one versus the other? So I think just more of like usage, like what could be a general guideline for usage, and maybe ways that we can start incorporating some herbs every day into our just kind of everyday routine.
Yeah, absolutely. Tea is really probably the best way to start. It's going to be the most gentle, easiest. You can kind of play with different flavors and different things, and just kind of see how it works with your body. Whereas a tincture is going to be a more concentrated version of the tea. So whereas in a tea, you might use a tablespoon of plant material, in a tincture, you're going to have a whole quart's worth of plant material in one small bottle of tincture.
Yeah.
And so that would be the difference in a tea and a tincture. But really, tea is one of the best ways to start using it.
Yeah. Are there some that are like certain herbs that are kind of your favorite for different seasons? So like, wintertime, fall time, these kind of herbs are a little bit more, supportive for the body versus like summertime, springtime.
Yeah, definitely. I think in the summertime, I like to drink teas with like peppermint and lemon balm and things like that that are cooling for the body. In the winter, I will do more stimulating and warming herbs like ginger and cayenne. Yeah, there's definitely, and I harvest according to the seasons too. So I tincture with fresh material. So products come out seasonally that way too. I mean, I will use dry material sometimes if I don't have any fresh material left, but I prefer to use fresh material.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so this, I'm really curious, like what could be some basic, this is for myself too, some basic ways to start, growing some herbs at home, and it's something that sometimes can feel like intimidating, I think, when you're like, I have no idea what to do or where to start with. So maybe if you don't mind explaining just some like basic tips and tricks of like, here's some great general herbs you can start with, and how to start growing those in your home. Cause I just, I didn't have a background of like really anyone growing much growing up. So I've done a little bit here and there, but I don't know a ton about it. So that's something that's always interested me too, is, getting more familiar with that and feeling more comfortable with actually growing my own things.
Yeah. I would definitely say start with what you like. Don't buy a bunch of seeds that you don't know what they are, you don't know what they taste like, you don't know what they do. Start with the things that you really like. Some of the easiest things to grow are going to be mints, lemon balm, Even echinacea is super easy to grow. Yeah, I would say do that. Just start a few seeds. Don't do an entire tray and overwhelm yourself. Just do 1 or 2 plants.
Well, that's good news for me because I can
Yeah,
handle 1 or 2.
just do 1 or 2 of each thing, and then you can kind of observe it through the process, how the seedlings grow. And then when you plant them in the ground, just kind of observe their growth process. And are they going to take over an entire bed? Am I only going to need 1 plant for the rest of my life? Is this something that I'm going to plant that 1 plant and then harvest the whole thing?
Right.
So the more you get to know each plant individually, then you can kind of grow on that.
Yeah. No, I love that. That's that's super helpful because, like I said, I feel like sometimes it can be very kind of overwhelming where it does feel like you have to like do it all at the same time.
Yeah.
Start big or go home. But I think just the beauty of starting small, like you said, starting with, and I did that for the first time this past year, as I just planted just some rosemary, and just mostly because yes, I cooked some with it, but just because I resonate with the smell of it, and just incorporating that into just our normal flower beds, and some lavender and things, and I really enjoyed opening up a little bit more, and like, yeah, I can grow my own rosemary, I can grow my own lavender, like,
Yeah.
so I think I'm hopeful that people start to kind of open their minds a little bit more. We buy herbs off the shelf, and it's, you put it in a dish because it calls for it, but it's like, there's so much beauty and power behind plants and what they offer us, and just what they can do for our bodies, that we don't even know all the benefits. I mean, it's such a domino effect, I think, and oils are the same way, where it's just like like you're saying, allopathically, you may be thinking, oh, I'm taking this for one thing, but it's going to be doing so many other things for your body that you weren't originally taking it for, but it's going to do it automatically. So I think that's just really the beauty of it.
Yeah.
And I think too, like in this kind of time, like I was the scrub that I bought off of you was like one of my favorite scrubs, the herbal scrub. And it's just like using herbs in that way, and oils, and just the plants in that way, is just such a beautiful way to kind of reconnect, especially during this kind of a time. I think when it's a very unique time in our history, but like we're so isolated now and being in our homes, that like, we all crave to be outside. Like we all crave to be connected to the sun and to just be outdoors and feel the grass. And it's like, when you can't do that, the closest thing you can do is, have some of these herbs in your house and using them as scrubs, or just, I have some of the lotions that you have, and smelling them. It's just like, it gives you that connection, I think, that your brain just totally resonates with, to be able to like reconnect, reground, and eliminate a lot of just some of that tension, anxiety, and things. So just the beauty of the plants themselves, and touching them, and smelling them, and things like that, for when we're in these kind of times where we're stuck in 4 walls and we can't get there outside quite as much. So I really resonate with that too. Let's talk about, on the topic of kind of what we're all kind of going through, like what are some, I'm sure people are really, wanting to know more, like what are some herbs and herbal remedies that can help just like naturally boost our immune systems, help support us at all times, rather than, yes, they can help us, and we're, like you're talking about fever and during times when we have symptoms, but just in general, we're always tending to and caring for our bodies. So what are some kind of herbs that are really supportive with the immune system?
Yeah. Some great herbs for that, you see it a lot on the shelves, is echinacea. You see that one a lot. And the way a lot of immune strengthening herbs work is they strengthen the connective tissue around your cells so that pathogens can't attach to them, or maybe just have a harder time doing that. They can help you when you are sick, by intensifying the response to it, but more often than not, immune system herbs strengthen before the infection. And a lot of people actually use immune support plants incorrectly in that way, like echinacea, because of the way that it creates a boundary around your cells. If you already have a sickness attached there and then you start taking echinacea, it can actually trap it in, and you can have a harder time getting rid of that sickness. You want to use these herbs, like you were saying, all the time, like before you get sick, just to strengthen your immune system. Your immune system is like the little warriors inside your body, so you want them prepared for action whenever it comes.
Right.
So echinacea is a great one. Ginger is a great herb for that. Elderberry, garlic. If you can handle raw garlic, that's the best way to take it. But put garlic in everything.
People all around you are going to love you for that too.
Yeah. Ginseng is another great herb for immune strength. I think it's on the endangered herb list, or maybe at risk anyway, so maybe not go with that one. A couple other ones, Schizandra berry, that's a lesser known one, astragalus, ashwagandha. These are also not just immune strengthening herbs, but also are called adaptogens. So they not only work on your immune system, but they work on your entire body, strengthening your entire body, strengthening your stress response, strengthening, just your whole vital strength.
Yeah. No.
Your circulatory system, your digestive system, all of those things. And when all of those things are working together in the most optimum way, then you're going to be able to fight off sickness a lot easier.
Yeah. No, I love that. I'm kind of curious. So what is like your, what's kind of your day to day? Like, what are you using, like with yourself, with your family? You have 4 kids, your husband, like, what do you kind of use on a daily basis as far as like, especially during this kind of season? I mean, I know this is heightened right now, but just kind of on a normal basis, like what does that look like for you?
Well, it changes from season to season, but right now through this whole thing, I'm actually drinking it right now, and I drink it just about every day right now. This is mullein and lemon balm and licorice root. And licorice root and lemon balm are both antiviral herbs. And antiviral herbs don't work in a way where, not like an antibacterial where it hits it and it kills it right away, but it does like the same thing as the immune strengthening herbs, where it kind of creates a boundary for the pathogens so they can't attach to the cells. Gotcha. So lemon balm and licorice root do that. And then mullein is a lung strengthening herb. So it keeps your lungs and your airways moistened so that you have a better chance of blocking any pathogens from coming down through the airways too. So that's what I've been doing every day right now. And it changes with the season. I think in the fall, not so much myself, but my husband has allergies really bad. So he'll do goldenrod to help keep his allergies at a minimum. Gosh, it's hard to say. It changes. Really, when you work with herbs, unless they are like an adaptogen or a tonic herb that you could take for a long period of time, you really only want to take them for about 2 weeks at a time, and then you want to switch it up to something else. Gotcha. So that's usually what I'll do.
Oh, that's good to know. I mean, that's kind of the stuff that, I think a lot of people don't, have that kind of education or knowledge behind it. So and then like, as far as kids, how does, what are kind of maybe some guidelines with using some herbs, kind of around that young school age, primary school, middle school kind of age for children?
Yeah, really, most herbs are safe for children to use. You just want to use them in lower doses.
Yeah.
So where you might use an entire dropper full of a tincture for an adult, you could maybe just use 5 or 6 drops instead for a child.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't, off the top of my head, I can't really think of any herbs that kids shouldn't use.
Right.
So that would just be my recommendation. And also with the tinctures, I have a children's tincture that I make, and I make it with glycerin rather than alcohol, just so you're not giving them alcohol.
Gotcha.
sweet. It tastes like syrup.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But I guess your methods of administering them might be a little bit different too.
Right. Right. And then, okay, this is awesome. I mean, I already feel like I've learned learned so much. I know I've like asked you way more questions than I thought I said I was originally going to ask you. I'm using this time selfishly to learn from you as well. So where can we right now in this moment, I know things are a little crazy, but like, where do you normally sell your products? So people here in Columbus locally want to get their hands on some of your teas and your tinctures and just some of your, even the body creams and stuff. Like, where can we purchase some of your items, or where can we find your products?
I have a Facebook page and an Instagram page where I do direct sales through there. Or email, I can email product lists, and then you can just send back an order. But I mostly do markets, kind of face-to-face things, Columbus-based markets. This year we'll be involved in the German Village Makers Market. Last year we did the Old Town Markets on Bryden Street. I've done the Sunlight Market on Gay Street, and some other local ones here in Lancaster. So I guess just look out on Facebook and kind of see where we're going each month.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I'd like to start holding some classes out here at my home, and some workshops and things like that at some point. And 2020, we hope to have a website where you can just order straight off of there. We just don't have that yet.
Yeah.
And we talked about this before. I just enjoy having that face-to-face with people. A lot of people have a lot of questions about different products, and you've seen my setup. I have so many different things, and they all do different things. So there's always questions. So it's just easier to be face-to-face with people rather than having to send messages back and forth.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think, once you start opening up, like having people come and just be able to like see what you do. And we talked about, like, I would love to, even like through the Natural Motive and stuff, is like just create some time of in the spring when all this craziness is hopefully died down, to like just be able to actually see what you're doing, and, where you have your greenhouse and just your land and everything that you guys are growing out there. I think that would be really amazing. Cause yeah, it's definitely, like you said, it's definitely a personal, like, need to have that connection, ask the questions. I think it's a very tactile thing, and that can just add so much more like value to, connecting with herbs and understanding more about it. But yeah, I think that's awesome. And I'll make sure that I'll link to your Facebook page in the comments so that everybody knows where to find them, find you and get in contact with you. Because I'm hopeful that, people will start to incorporate some of these things a little bit more, just to feel more empowered and not feel so, like kind of helpless and there's nothing we can do, or we don't really have anything. I think we have so many tools, natural tools at our fingertips that we can really start utilizing. So, but I think it's just really about educating and, helping people understand and feel more confident and more comfortable around it. So
it's not as scary as you think. And there's a lot of information out there that you can get a hold of. So don't be afraid.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for hopping on. Let me see if I can view if anybody has some questions. And if not, we can always, if you guys have questions, after, if you're viewing this after we post the video and after everything's kind of over, maybe make some comments in the, comments after, below the video, and then we can, always go back and have time to go back and answer some of those questions too. But yeah, I just really appreciate you coming on and chatting with us, and we get to see your little bit sneak peek of your greenhouse in the background. I do see, some green plants growing, so that makes me happy and hopeful that spring is coming and warm weather will be here before you know it.
Yeah. Sorry about my cat's butt here. He decided to come and sit in this way.
I saw him in the background kind of like creepily walking. No, it's totally fine. All right. Well, thank you so much. And we really appreciate you coming on and just sharing your knowledge. And I would love to do this maybe again, we can talk more, or love to have some people go out and just see you in person.
Yeah, that'd
See
be awesome.
you guys are growing there at Lilly Hollow.
Yeah.
Great, Tonya. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.